Happy Halloween. Do try not to die.
How the devil are we? Everything's going wrong tonight. There we go. I'm here. How the devil are you? New microphone. Well, replacing the current microphone with my old microphone, so it hopefully won't cut out. Lou is having problems connecting. So if anybody wants to pop on and review the week's news and sport and results with me, let me know. What a Premier League this is turning out to be. Liverpool, sorry, Doug, you had one job. Arsenal, Southampton, one job. I don't know what's going on. Leicester, one job.
It's time for the smug face.
That was a long time coming. I'm glad it's here now.
It's time! Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
All right, Chris.
All right. Well, actually, not 100%. Tonight is being as unpredictable as the Premier League. I had my annual COVID boost. Yep, looks like it's going to be like the flu. We're going to have it every year. I had that yesterday, and I'm kind of been knocked for six a little bit. Anyway, let's see if we can get Lou in. She might not be on camera, but we might be able to hear her. Let's have a look. No, it's not. It's showing me I can't add you, Louise. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Let's try one more time. No, it's not showing you both your mic and your cam aren't connected. So I think you've got to connect your cam and then go off screen. But it's not working, I'm afraid, Lou. It's not working. Dan isn't in, but Dan's left a message, and we are going to be talking about that in a bit. But I am going to read that out from Dan. Let's have a look saying. Lou is working on it. She's there with all little screws and screwdrivers. So yeah, I will be reading that in a second, but I do hope your daughter is feeling a little bit better. Have some lovely daddy time. It's a couple of days out now. Hope she feels better soon. Terry's in, saying the same. Hi, Terry. How are you? James is in. Good evening. How are you? Like he says, hit that like and subscribe. Please do. Doug is in as well. Hello, Doug. Luke is in. Good evening, Luke. Big up. Can't wait for this review to get underway. I'm going to grace and milk in every moment, and rightly so after that. Mate, you deserve to. You absolutely deserve to. You had a game plan. I think you were lucky to end up. Well, we'll talk about it when we come to it. But, at the end of the day, the record books will show that it was Nottingham Forest 1, Liverpool 0, 3 points, mate. Well deserved. Well deserved. A crazy weekend. Totally, utterly crazy. Like I say, if anybody wants to come on and join me, I'm having trouble adding Louise. It's still not allowing me to, Lou. I can see you there, but it says device is not connected. So if anybody wants to come on and talk last week's news and results with me, please do. But then again, I am used to talking to myself. Spencer's in. Good evening. How are you? Hope you are well, sir. Terry, typical BBC. We have the best 4 goals of the day, and they flipping will put Aston Villa on before us. It was always going to happen, I guess, because of what had gone on before. So I couldn't believe we were like 4th on there, to be honest with you. Arsenal. Did Arsenal go after us? I can't remember. I played it on catch-up and just turned off after the Leicester game. But anyway, let's have a look at what happened last week in the world of football. Well, do you remember at the start of the season who was favourite to be sacked? Yes, indeed, Brendan. And he's still there. And I believe now he's actually 4th or 5th to be sacked. We know now Jesse Marsh, and we'll come on to him in a second, is the favourite. Let me just check the Premier League sack race. But, the fact that he is still there, it's just amazing. He outlasted a Prime Minister. Mind you, let's be honest with you, I've had longer coughs than that. Brilliant. Just 1 second, and I'm just going to invite Doug on. I promise no dad jokes tonight, Doug. And then if Lou can come on afterwards, she will be more than welcome. I've sent you the link, Doug. So Premier League net manager to lose. So I'm going to go Sky Bet. We obviously don't recommend betting, especially if you're underage. And remember, if you do bet, please, when the fun stops, stop. But the next manager odds, Brendan Rodgers, 5th now, 5th favourite, out to 12-1. Wasn't so long ago, he was the favourite. Jesse Marsh is the favourite to be sacked. I guess no surprise there. Ralph Husenhall is 2nd, although obviously got a good result. Thomas Frank, believe it or not, I can't believe Thomas Frank is 8-1 and 3rd. And Antonio Conte is 9-1. Surely Spurs are not going to sack Antonio Conte. But Brendan Rodgers is ahead of Frank Lampard. I know that will pee Brad off, but Brendan Rodgers is above. And I can't believe they've still got Steve Cooper at 16-1 to get sacked. Now, whatever I say about Nottingham Forest, and obviously let's have we have a bit of banter, and it's great. It's great to have Forest back because the banter with Villa and the banter with Wolves wasn't the same, Now, you can argue whether, they are rivals, etc., but you know what? They're a local team. They're an East Midlands team. To me, Nottingham Forest, Derby, Coventry. Coventry are my main rivals, but it's been that long since we played them. But it's great to have that banter back. That's what I'm enjoying. But they gave Cooper a new contract. This hasn't changed since. This was what it was before, and they've not changed it after the Liverpool win. I just don't get, like, Steve Cooper is 16-1 to be sacked. But then again, Jurgen Klopp is 25-1 to be sacked. Lou, I still can't. It just keeps coming up. Device is not connected. There's nothing I can do about that, I'm afraid. Vardy is the king of shithousery. Spencer, he so is. You've got to love him. And I tell you, we'll come on to the Leicester match obviously later, but I did say he needed a goal. He's got a goal. That was Vardy-esque, the goal. James is yeah. If you want to come on as well, James, we can have a party. Let me just put the list. Put it here. So with James and Doug both coming on, I think that's going to be fine now. Unai Emery could be going to Aston Villa, from what I've heard, says James. Do you know what this? It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me at all. And then we have, honestly, Liverpool, or not Liverpool fans, but Liverpool people. They just go everywhere in twos, don't they? It's like women going to football, going to the toilet in pairs. I've got to admit, I went to the toilet in pairs once and I got thrown out the greengrocers. Oh, come on. That's the first one. I'm allowed that one. James, good evening, sir. How are you?
Not too bad, Chris. Yourself?
Yeah, not three. Well, happier now than I was, obviously. And here we go. The other half, the red half. One job Doug, as we now call him.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, James. Hope you're both well.
Doug, you're right.
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Not bad, yeah.
Facebook user here says, David Cross, brilliant result against Wolves. I think the new defender, Faye, is making a massive difference. Confidence is hopefully returning. We're going to come on to the Leicester game in a second. Colonel is in. What is Mikel Arteta's odds on being sacked? Because obviously we're going to crumble now, ain't we? I don't know. I saw that result and I thought, well, there'll be some Arsenal fans that are happy because they'll have something to moan about. This will annoy Dan. Aston Villa being linked with Vincent Kompany. Terry, star of TV and now radio, put your hands together for Doug. I do with some of his jokes. I'm not so sure, to be honest with you, but and what I've just said about going in pairs. But look, let's have a look at the news. I mean, I couldn't believe this last week. Steven Gerrard, he's only been there 11 months. I thought he would get longer, James. Did you not?
I thought he would get a bit longer as well, but unfortunately, managers just don't get that time anymore. I mean, unless you're Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola, you have to be winning
or
things.
Brendan Rodgers at the moment.
Well, yeah, Rodgers is still in there at the minute, yeah. But yeah, I like to think he got more time. And I'm not just because even though I'm an Everton fan, and I'm not a huge fan of Gerrard, never have been. But as with young managers coming through, and even British managers, you want to see them progress and give him more time. And I've got no doubt he'll be back in management. No problem. It just wasn't to be, unfortunately for him.
They do, don't they? You know, I've never known another job where the only reason you get sacked is because, well, unless you're a Watford manager, the only reason you get sacked is you're doing an awful job, and then you seem to walk into another one. I mean, Doug, you knew Steven Gerrard from, his time at Liverpool. This shows the gulf between Scotland and England, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. I think we've kind of seen now that coming from the SPFL Premiership, I think is a lot different to, coming into the Premier League. And it started well for Gerrard. It started really, really well. It's just recently, I mean, obviously we will get on to the Aston Villa result because who saw that coming? I mean, that was some result, but yeah. Steven Gerrard be like, he'll be at home there. He'll be at home watching that game and be thinking, why couldn't you perform for me like that?
Yeah.
But I honestly think he should go the way that Steve Cooper did. He went to Swansea. Then he went to Forest, and now he's sort of got them in the Premier League. I think he should probably go to like a Premier League, just somewhere like the Championship would probably be good for him. Then to just make his way up,
like a West Brom, possibly. I mean, James, and I know we got our manager from a Scottish club, but to me, he had that experience before he went up to Scotland. I mean,
definitely. Sorry, go carry on.
No, all I was going to say was the fact that, and he'd done his time with the Swanseas. He'd then, let's be honest with you, he'd got you within a slip of, winning the Premier League. But to me, he'd had that experience, but he'd gone up to Celtic. There was no Rangers there for a lot of the time. And then he came back down, but he'd already had that experience, James, where Gerrard had gone in at Rangers, probably thought, wow, this manager lot's a bit easy, and come down. And when you look at that 25.8% win rate, that isn't good enough for a team like Villa who are looking to grow.
Oh, definitely not. It's definitely not good enough, no matter who you are. For a club like Aston Villa, with the resources, the history, and with the huge fan base they have, they should be doing a lot better. Doesn't matter who you are in the job. Just, as I say, it just wasn't to be for him all of a sudden. And and I agree with Doug, you do question them players that they played on Sunday against Brentford. But obviously they had something to prove. And it was, to be honest, I wasn't even surprised that they won. Because manager goes, then they suddenly start playing again. That's just how football works, unfortunately.
It does indeed. The word that was being used a lot on Match of the Day 2 by Alan Shearer was one that Dan said that the Burnley guy that stood in once when Dyche was sacked used a lot, and that was freedom. The new guy, Doug, I can't remember his name, that's gone in, gave them the freedom to play. And sometimes, or do you think they just didn't want to play for Gerrard?
I honestly don't know, but there's a lot of his players that let him down there. You can talk obviously about Tyrone Mings. You can obviously, I think the big one's probably John McGinn, because he was named Aston Villa captain by the start of the season. Anyway, he took the captaincy off Tyrone Mings, which I think was the right decision to say the very, very least. I think that the main culprit for me though is Felipe Coutinho. He just did not perform in a Gerrard team. And, Christian Perslow has actually backed Gerrard full to the hilt. And now they're making a decision after, obviously, the Fulham game. Well, I don't think it was actually him that sacked him. I think it was the owners that sacked him. But even still, it felt like a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, because would he have probably won that game against Brentford had he still been there? That might have been a little bit debatable, but in my opinion, the players just didn't play for him at all.
But Doug, and James, this to me, when you compare it, like I say, because let's be honest with you, everybody said Brendan Rodgers was going to be the first manager to be sacked, especially sort of 3 or 4 weeks into the season with how bad it was. But maybe our chairman is looking at that and going, well, in fairness, I wasn't, not that I didn't want to back him, but due to FFP and our financial situation, I couldn't back him. So, he maybe is looking at that thinking, I need to give Brendan a little bit more time. Where Gerrard, I mean, look at the amount of players he's brought in and the standard of players he's brought in, like say Coutinho. I suppose the expectations from the board, well, we've given you all this money, we've given you all these big players. We expected more from you.
Yeah, you look at the quality they brought in. Like you say, Coutinho. To be honest, I didn't get the Coutinho signing, I'm going to be brutally honest, because I think, don't get me wrong, especially when he was at Liverpool, he was a terrific player, but he's not found that form when he was at Liverpool. He's shown glimpses, but he hasn't got the consistency. And then you got players like Luca Dean, who weirdly enough signed from us. and he's an hit-and-miss player. Then you've got Douglas Luiz. Oh, not a signing, but, he was like with clubs like Arsenal. They have got good players. It's just, something's just not right. They're just not gelled as a team. And my problem with Gerrard, I think Gerrard's problem was, I don't think he knew his best 11. If I'm going to be honest, half the time I look at their team sheet, there's always a couple of changes. And I just don't think he quite knew what his best 11 was.
But look, after 11 months, he should have an idea, because most of that team was his team.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well as, as said, like, injuries haven't helped him either. Like, Kamara's injured, Diego Carlos is injured as well.
I don't know. I mean, I always used to say that it used to bug me when these you've got 25-man squad. Yeah. You've got under 23s you can use. So all this sort of, I've got injuries, it doesn't wash. But then last season, obviously, from Leicester's point of view, we had lots of injuries. So it's a double-edged sword for me. But whether, you should have within that squad players that can come and step in. You look at Leicester now. Tielemans, let's say, goes out, Pratt comes in. Daka goes off, Vardy comes in. I just wonder, and I'm looking at Diego Costa here from the weekend, players that are coming back, Lukaku, when he came back. James, are these players, is it wrong to almost sign players on the strength of what they used to be?
I think that is a bit of a debate there. And I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I think it's just, I don't want to use the word age, because obviously we know sometimes it can be a bit irrelevant at times, especially goalkeepers. But I just don't think they've got, if they've been out of the Premier League for a bit, then yeah, they haven't got it. They haven't got the capabilities to play in the league anymore. I don't think Coutinho has, not anymore. And I don't think Diego Costa has either. No. I know Costa's got physicality, but
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Doug, I looked at Costa on at the weekend, and I mean, Faye's just sort of, emptied him out his pocket at the after 92 minutes. And Coutinho has never been the player. I mean, the player that you had and sold for however many 100 million it was, that player is nowhere to be seen now.
No, Barcelona absolutely just destroyed him as a player. He just destroyed his confidence, and he went to Bayern Munich, and he was all right in the Bayern Munich side, but he wasn't really like a player that would probably like sell shirts and all this and all this nonsense. I just think, unfortunately, Coutinho's best times were as a Liverpool player. Yes. And I still think he is actually regretting, moving from Liverpool to Barcelona. But I suppose, if you get £146 million for a player like that, then that's the thing as well. We sold Coutinho for 146 million. That money got us Van Dijk and Alisson.
Yeah. Yes. Andrew, I'm afraid you're going to have one of these. That is just, it is beyond awful. Yeah, last night. That is beyond awful. And it's like, do you remember Torres? I mean, when he was at Liverpool, he was an amazing player, James. Then he went down to Chelsea and he couldn't score in a brothel, as they say. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, to Liverpool, he was amazing. I mean, he was amazing at Liverpool, Torres, but then Chelsea just didn't work out. I just don't know. You have more questions than answers when it comes to players for certain clubs, and it works for some and it doesn't work for others. I mean, Coutinho's problem at Barca wasn't just a lack of confidence; he had lack of fitness. He was always he seems to get an injury.
Yeah. Baseline Junkie, love the name. Every Premier League club can say they should be doing better with the money and resources in the league, but it's very hard to dethrone the likes of Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Man City. It is totally. I mean, we all should say, well, we deserve to be sixth, but only one team can be sixth, you know. But moving on to past Steven Gerrard, I'm sure we will see him back. I just want to read this because I tongue-in-cheek, sent a message over to Dan saying, "Hey up, Dan, Burnley fans are at it again." Here we go. They were chucking coins from the upper tier down onto the lower tier. I always think it's daft. Why the hell does any club put away fans in the upper tier? I mean, obviously they want to give their own fans, I suppose, better seats, but you know things are going to get chucked down. If we go back far enough, you know, I can remember seats being ripped out and being chucked down at England games from the upper tier. I just want to do what Dan said here. Can't tune in as playing nurse to my little one and Kate as they both have flu. That said, I hope you realise that every fan has its idiots, and my channel as a Burnley fan doesn't condone them. 100% down, 100%. But my worry is, James, are we seeing the resurgence of fan violence? I mean, there was this, but it follows on from Manchester City, Liverpool. Not having a go at you, Doug, but you know, where the coach got smashed, or the window got smashed. I still can't believe that Liverpool fans were throwing money away, but apparently they were throwing coins onto the pitch. Apparently the other half of the Liverpool fans were running on to pick them up. My worry is, in an era where we're trying to get safe standing back, and you could argue it is two different things, but we're not doing ourselves as fans any favours.
Well, no, it's just getting worse. I mean, I know the pandemic hadn't helped beforehand, but the problem, you know what, these incidents keep happening so much around me up. I mean, like, and this is what winds me up with certain people on social media and all that, assuming all fans of that certain club are like that. It's not, it's just a bunch of idiots. No matter who it is, it can happen at Everton, Liverpool, Man United, or even in the lower leagues. It happens everywhere in football. It's just a bunch of idiots ruining it for others. And unfortunately, it's the club that gets it's the club that gets fines. They have to pay for it. The fans don't pay for it. The only thing the fans get, and rightfully so, is a ban or a stadium ban or a suspension or whatever.
I mean, Doug, Man City and Liverpool have been sort of at it last season or so. But, I mean, why can't we just stick at banter? You know, go in for 90 minutes, banter the other side, or, you know, if it's Jamie Vardy, have a go about Rebecca Vardy and what have you. But there's no need to go to the depths and be throwing things and like that. I just don't get it. Because I say, I very much went to football in the 70s. And I can remember I went to watch Leicester versus Chelsea, and it had been moved to this was when it was at Filbert Street, moved to the Friday night because Leicester Tigers were playing on the Saturday. Yeah. We got searched when we went in. We got bottles of water taken off us because they were deemed dangerous weapons. We got in. That was when we had pens. Do you remember pens? You couldn't move. And Leicester being Leicester, never do what you trust them to do. They went 1-0 up. And the crowd, there was smoke bombs going off in the family stand. But then thankfully Chelsea equalised. I've never been so relieved to see the opposition score. And then 3 or 4, maybe about 10 Chelsea fans broke into our pen. And it was just horrible. I actually tried to get out at half time and I couldn't because the gate was locked. I mean, you can't imagine these days. And the copper came and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I want to leave. I'm just not enjoying it." And he literally opened the door, stuck his head out, looked both ways, and said, "Run." And there was actually a stabbing that night. But I know we're not probably going back to those sorts of days, but it all starts, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And you know, I think if I remember rightly, I think Sunderland actually had the away end in like one of those. I think the one behind the goal. I think it was like the away end, like a few years ago, as well. But there was a very good point made the other day, is that yes, there are a lot of these things that are coming back into a lot of things. But my example was the Jack Grealish one when a Birmingham City supporter decided to go on the pitch and basically assault Jack Grealish. And to be fair, like, I'm not Jack Grealish's biggest fan, but I must say I was very, very happy that he scored the winner that day, because there's just when are we going to get into the situation that somebody goes onto the pitch, somebody goes on to basically assault Jack Grealish, and the guy got I think it was like a 12-week jail sentence, like that. That's just too lenient. Like, what if that fan went on and like produced a knife or something? That's where I'm worried. That's where I'm very, very worried that we might go into those kind of depths. So,
and I hate saying this because of the team you support, Doug, but are we going to see fences re-erected?
I obviously hope not. Hope not. But I think if it's to stop, fans from obviously doing stuff. But yeah, throwing coins is just.
Well, I mean James, it was Vieira at Palace, wasn't it? I believe that ended up throwing a punch back at one of the fans. I mean, these pitch invasions. What do people think they are doing? Because, like I say, I don't want to see fences go up for obvious reasons, but that's what's going to happen if they're not careful.
Exactly, yeah. The thing is, they don't care. Some of them just don't care about the rules or whatever. And also, what doesn't help is that how much do they have to drink before the match? That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate. I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't have alcohol or anything, but I'm just saying you got to stop, and pardon me French here, stop being a dick and stop behaving yourself. But
just do what Arsenal do and make the beer too expensive to buy.
well, last season, that incident with Vieira, but that was at Goodison, and I saw that in front of me. I sit in one of the top stands at Goodison. And when we beat them on the last, towards the end of the season, where we had to stay up, I saw a fan go up to Vieira, and I don't blame Vieira because the fan was being aggressive towards him. Yeah. What could Vieira do? Vieira was trying to get to the other side of the pitch with his players, and Vieira was getting assaulted.
It was just like the Manchester City pitch invasion as well. There was a fan that went to confront, I think, Robin Olsen, and Robin Olsen, Robin Olsen was injured because of that. I think he had a scratch through the eye. But these incidents are on the rise again, and it is very worrying.
Terry says there, I mean, ex-rugby players are stewards. That would stop you. That would stop you. True Red, I'd forgotten about this. A Leicester fan going on and attack Kieran Davis. This shouldn't be allowed on the pitch, full stop. If you go on that pitch, I mean, last year, I think it was when it was the season that our chairman passed away. The last game of the season, the guy top was walking around the pitch applauding the fans, and a fan got onto the pitch just to give him a scarf, and I think he was banned for something like 12 weeks. And but you see them, going on and hitting people, and I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And how do they get these flares in? I mean, as Baseline says here, when you see Leicester, when we're playing in Europe, we strip search almost as we go in the ground. We can't get flares in, but these opposition fans always seem to.
I've seen plenty of them at Goodison. I mean, I've seen parents give their kids flares.
Oh, God.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the next one before we get into the games, Marsh is next favourite to be sacked. Doug, he's 1-3 on. It seemed a weird appointment in the first place, but it just never got going, did it? Because I mean, they stayed up, and I know I joke with Carl about staying up on the last minute of the last day sort of thing, but it just didn't work for Leeds, did it? This.
Well, if you want to basically compare the two between him and Bielsa, I do have a wee thing to read out, right? So, Marcelo Bielsa was sacked after a run of 7 points from a possible 24, having played harder opposition with half the squad, right? So, Bielsa lost to Liverpool, Manchester City, and Spurs, and was sacked. Jesse Marsch is on a run of 2 points from a possible 24, having had the easiest run on paper with more or less a full squad. And these are the teams that he has lost to, right? Fulham, yourselves, Chris, Crystal Palace, and Brentford. Make it make sense. Honestly, a heavy defeat at Anfield, he's gone.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Would you say the same, James?
100%, yeah. You can't win them matches. How the hell was he going to get something at Anfield? Honestly, it's just, again, it just hasn't worked out.
I don't know. I would have said the same about Nottingham Forest, but hey ho. Sorry, Doug. One job, mate. One job. But yeah, I mean, I was quoting it earlier in the season, James, that we had Ranieri was sacked, having just won us the Premier League. We're sat in 17th, so we weren't even in the bottom three. And we were still in the Champions League, and he got sacked. Where Brendan created a new record of having the worst ever start of any Premier League club in the history of the Premier League and conceding more goals in that time than any club in the Premier League, and he was still there. I suppose, I don't know how clubs make these decisions.
It's a funny old game, as Jimmy Greaves would say. It's a funny old game.
Yeah.
Certain things just don't make sense anymore, do they? So,
no. Before we move on, James, very quickly, Lampard, is his job safe?
His job's safe, yeah. We, especially after the win we got, he had to win that game, and thankfully we did. So he's all right. He's safe for now.
Yeah, and I know it sounds silly me saying this, but Jurgen Klopp, Doug, I mean, he is literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He is in the top 10 to be sacked. Surely not, though.
No, I don't think so. I don't think Klopp will be away anytime soon. I mean, he literally just signed a new deal anyway in the summer there. So I don't see him going anytime soon.
Well, just looking there, Brendan Rodgers is 12-1 now. Gone out from evens. Frank Lampard is 16-1. So I'm sure there will be a few go during the World Cup break. But let's have a look at the midweek games. I mean, what a mad, and I think you said this in the chat, James, before you came in, what a mad week of results it's been.
No, definitely. I mean, certain results you just didn't expect. And some matches were pretty good to watch. Good contests as well.
I mean, I'm just looking at a couple there. I mean, the one that sticks out for me, Doug, Man United, Tottenham.
Yeah, Man United absolutely battered Tottenham. Absolutely battered them. It could have been 3, could have been 4, could have been 5, could have been 6, could have been 7-0. Tottenham just did not turn up for that game, and Man United thoroughly deserved to win. And I think as well that we're now sort of seeing Spurs being a bit Spursy now.
Explain. What's your thought of a description of Spursy?
Basically,
I'd say it's coming third in a 2-horse race, but of course that's a bit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. But no, for me, they're just starting to lose games where you probably expect them to lose.
Games, Brighton being held 0-0 by Forest. I mean, are we seeing the demise of Brighton now that Potter's gone off to Chelsea?
They are having a slump. There's no doubt about that. They're having a slump. But I look at Brighton's matches. They play a similar way. He's got them playing a similar way to what Potter's got them playing. But the same problems are there. He can't score goals. They lack a proper goal scorer. And they create so many opportunities to keep the ball well. They create enough chances, but they don't take them. and I thought, and this is why they're having a right slump at the minute.
And I mean, Wolves there. I've just lost it now. Where are we? Wolves, Doug. Talking about having hard. Did they play midweek? Oh yeah, they lost to Crystal Palace 2-1. 5 goals all season.
Yeah,
and they've got Diego Costa now.
This is where I think you start to worry for Wolves, because they don't score enough goals. They keep, to be fair, they do keep a lot of clean sheets, but the problem is as well with Wolves is that if you don't score enough goals, you don't win games.
No.
And Adama Traore scoring for like the first time in I think 2 years is mental. Absolutely mental. Or actually, no, 3 years, in fact. I think his last goal was actually against Manchester City. So that kind of just says it all for Adama Traore. And I know he's obviously been at Barcelona in and around that time as well. But yeah, I have to say, I worry for Wolves. I think they could be potentially one of the ones to go down. I am amazed they're not going for a new manager, because Steve Davis is... I know he's an interim manager, but I did see a Wolves fan tweet earlier that basically Steve Davis should do the right thing and basically resign and basically allow someone else to take over, because the job looks like it's too big for him.
Well, another thing, just quick, the other mistake Wolves made was letting Connor Cody go.
Yeah.
The fact that they let him go, and he's such a massive figure in the dressing room, they've let him go. I couldn't believe it when they let him go.
That
Honestly.
was one of those weird decisions of the summer for me.
It was. I mean, I'm not complaining. Obviously, when I heard we were getting him, I was like, you know what? he's a leader. He's a proper leader. Wolves are letting him go. I'm like, what are they doing? Honestly, what are they doing? And they're like a spine.
Yeah. I mean, I'll quote the Leicester game when we go on to the weekend games as to Wolves' problem. But Everton travelled to Newcastle United, lost 1-0. Newcastle United, let's be honest, they're having a great season.
They are. I mean, to be honest, I didn't expect us to get anything there, to be honest. And the fact we didn't have a shot on target, that was going to happen. So, look, Newcastle, take nothing away. They're an improving side, and they're doing really well. And I know there's a few on social media, Everton and Newcastle fans have a real rivalry, but I'm happy for Newcastle because they've been through a hell of a lot under Mike Ashley, and now they've got hope, and they've got a team now they can actually believe in, and they're picking up good results in a minute. And Eddie Howe, who we'd never thought would be the man to take them forward, but he's doing a decent job at the minute. But Newcastle at the minute, they've spent a little bit, but they haven't spent on like 7 or 8 players. But they've recruited the right way. They've done things for once. They're not unlike clubs like Forest, us, Villa. We've just gone and wasted all kinds of money. But Newcastle have gone, no, this is what we're doing. This is a project, and that's why they're up there in the table.
Of course, I always take this opportunity to remind people, of course, that they did want to sign James Maddison on a buy now, pay later, and that as in paying nothing now whatsoever. And I think you got a bit of money. I think you can afford to pay. I mean, look at that. I mean, Doug, Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, and then Brentford go and collapse to Villa. Chelsea having an up and down season. Again, looking at the appointment of Potter, you could say, yes, at last, one of these American owners is going for a British manager. They're having an up and down season themselves, Chelsea, aren't they?
They struggle to score goals. It's as simple as that. Chelsea are struggling to score goals. They don't have an out-and-out goal scorer. Sterling, Aubameyang, Mount, Pulisic, Havertz, it's not really... they don't really have like a major sort of threat up front. And I think because, they are going for Nkunku, I know that's gone a little bit quiet recently, but I have a feeling that that Chelsea may struggle for a wee bit before the World Cup, I think, because I think in January, I think you might see them spend a wee bit of money.
Yeah.
They're too predictable as well. I don't know about you, James, but I've always found Chelsea a little bit more just a little bit too predictable to play against.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, they were like that just under Tuchel. They were just so predictable, and you just knew what they were going to do. And again, goals. They just haven't got. I question that signing. I know his goal scoring record's great, but I don't think Aubameyang's the right signing for them. I really don't. They had to get rid of Lukaku because Lukaku was no use to them at all. But they needed. I mean, they have got talent, Chelsea. That's the thing. But that top four race this season, I think this is going to be a very, very huge battle. I think City will win the league, and then you've got teams like Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and even Newcastle. If Newcastle can keep it up, it's going to be very, very interesting how it goes.
Del Boy's in. Hiya, Del. What the crack is going on? Is that right? I don't know whether I said that right or not.
Del Boy, what's the crack? What's the bleeding story?
Yeah,
what's the bleeding story?
Highfields is in. Gosh, I remember going to the picture of Portman Road in the early 90s dressed as a Hare Krishna, 15 of us. I've nowhere to go with that one. I'm sorry. I've nowhere to go without getting the station banned. And true, speaking of buy now, pay later, I think it was Everton who wanted to buy Maxwell Cornet from Burnley on a pay-as-you-play deal. I don't know whether that was true.
No, he is right there.
Maybe that is the way forward. I don't know. But look, Doug, explain to me Southampton. Explain to me why they exist. Because I'm not being awful. I am being awful because my hatred for Norwich and Watford. But Southampton, it is just win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win. I used to hate Wigan back in the day because Wigan would always finish 17th. I thought, just go down and give us a break. But, I mean, Southampton, they got a good draw in fairness against Arsenal. But Bournemouth as well. I mean, we thought we were on the end of a defeat to them. And that was a surprise. But what is the point of Southampton?
Yeah. That result was quite surprising because I think that was Gary O'Neill's first defeat. I think as interim manager. So, Bournemouth have been in a pretty good run without really being, spectacular. There's been a lot of draws and a couple of wins here and there as well. But yeah, that Southampton result is that a derby? I suppose you could probably say it is probably a derby because it's
South Coast derby. It's probably the nearest Bournemouth will have. Yes. Yeah,
but no, Southampton are a very weird side to predict. They're actually like the nightmare of all nightmares. Nice wee Halloween sketch there. But they are the nightmares of all nightmares when you come to predict football matches.
Yeah,
because you just never know what you're going to get with Southampton.
No. I mean, they went 1-0 down and beat us 2-1. But talking of us, James, the game of the midweek. I'm sorry, everything else was just dressing to the big game that was Leicester City versus Leeds. We bloody needed that, didn't we? I mean, that was possibly the first nail in Marsh's coffin, but my God, that was a morale booster that we needed.
Yeah, you definitely need that result, and obviously confident that it's giving you a massive confidence boost. Yeah, so. And the fact you kept the clean sheets as well, which is not something you can say about how you've been this season. But no, you've definitely needed that win. And obviously, we'll talk about the other game on Sunday. You've got to, hopefully, it'll give you a real confidence boost going into the final few matches before the World Cup.
Just a little case of Man City this weekend. We're not worried.
No pressure then.
No pressure on him at all. I mean, Doug, it's almost a given that. You know what I mean? If we go, we lose. I'm not going to have a go at Brendan Rodgers because it's Manchester City. But, that, including the Wolves game, I think it's something like 4 clean sheets now. A goalkeeper that was being pilloried as the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League. Can't get 4 clean sheets. And as you know, I always say the goalkeeper, it's not just the goalkeeper, it's his defence in front of him as well. That's kind of settled in. Rodgers made the obvious thing of putting Amartey, a right-footed player, on the right. I mean, to me, it's obvious, but hey, played him on the left at the start and we didn't get on well. But I mean, I'm looking at Ward and what he comes out. He's dominant. He commands his area. He's getting vocal. Yeah, and that's just going to get and he throws the odd worldie in as well.
No, he's been fantastic the last couple of games, and I'm really happy for him because he has had a lot of criticism this season, and I think as well. I don't think his defense has really helped him out recently, but I do think with the performances he's putting in week in week out right now, there's no point to drop him for Iverson. And I know a lot of people have been wanting Iverson to, or is it Everson, whichever way you want to pronounce it.
You say Ivor, I say Eva.
But no, I'm very happy for Danny Ward because I think.
Well, you had him, didn't you, at Liverpool?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, we did, and you guys bought him off us for 12 million quid.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't cheap, and I think you've got to look and say the fact that Casper was just never got injured. That's why he never played in the Premier League. But he never let us down in cups. But no, I've stood by Ward through it all, and I'm glad to see it's going to give him confidence as well.
Guys, I don't know if you want to hear some interesting news. But Aston Villa are expected to announce Unai Emery as their new manager in the next 48 hours.
Wow. Somebody said that earlier. And he's going to come back with unfinished business, isn't he?
Yeah, Mr. Good evening.
You're interested when Arsenal go to Villa Park.
Yeah.
That's true, actually. That's true.
Hang on. Talking about bottom of the league. Hello, Mr. Dorr.
Hi, Dorr.
Bottom of the league. You're bottom of the league. Oh, yeah. Well, somebody said earlier in the chat. I mean, Michael Carrick's gone to Middlesbrough as head coach. We will see. I'm sure Unai Emery. Let's be honest with you. I'm surprised. Is it Villarreal? He's at
Villarreal, yeah.
And he does really well in Europe. I'm surprised that he wants to give that up to come to Villa, but I'm sure he's thinking like, you know what? If I can beat Arsenal here, I'm just going to love this. But I
think money talks as well. I think that's why he's probably going.
Why is that? Sorry.
I think money talks. I think that's why he's going there.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It does indeed. It does. He was linked with somebody else not so long ago, but he gets
Newcastle.
on very well with Newcastle. But he gets on very, very well with the owners. Like you say, money's the thing at the end of the day. James, last game of the midweek, Fulham put the nail in the coffin of Steven Gerrard, 3-0. Fulham and, sorry, Dor and Luke, Bournemouth, two teams that have come up, and they are doing all right at the moment.
Yeah, and credit to them, and credit to Marco Silva as well. Obviously, ironically, he used to be our manager as well. Doing well, Fulham, and especially the fact that he's got Mitrovic scored in the Premier League as well. But they've got a decent balance, Fulham. Defensively, they're not conceding too many, but they have got a few goals in them. It's just getting the consistency, and I think Fulham, especially at home, I think that's where Fulham will be fine. The home form will keep them up, and I think Fulham will be more or less mid-table this season. So, now they were excellent. I mean, I know they were against the Villa side that we're clearly not playing for Gerrard, but Fulham at the minute look a decent team.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I had Bournemouth as 19th on the strength of Scott Parker being the manager. And I also had Fulham as 17th on the strength of Silver being the manager, because he wasn't hugely successful last time. But hey, credit to them. It's nice to see teams coming up and doing well, Mr. Dorr. But sorry, a bit of a bad cough I've got there. Can I just say, I said earlier, I love having Forest just for the banter, and I didn't predict them to go down. I do think they'll stay up. We're going to have a look at the weekend's game.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Yeah, do what the ex-foxes say. Subscribe to the channel. Really would appreciate that. And if you are already subscribed, smash the likes. It does help us with our analytics. And at my age, any help I can get with my analytics is really needed. James, Chelsea, Manchester United, you could have gone out for the day and come back in just for the last 10 minutes, couldn't you?
Yeah, it wasn't really a classic until the final 10 minutes of the match. And to be honest, that result was so predictable. No wonder everyone's saying it's the most drawn fixture in Premier League history between these two sides.
Yeah, isn't it like 28 draws or something between the two?
Yeah, I think something like that, yeah. Chelsea got the pen, and then, I have to give a mention. What's a header from Casemiro for the equaliser? He didn't have to adjust himself to get a real good contact to it. And to guide it onto the post into the back of the net.
Isn't it good we now have goal line technology? Because I reckon without goal line technology, that might not have been given.
Oh, it definitely wouldn't have been given if the goal line technology wasn't there. It definitely wouldn't be.
But Doug, Chelsea, that was like, it was WWE for the penalty, wasn't it?
Jesus Christ. What was Scott McTominay thinking? Like, Stuart Atwell is looking right at it. And he's basically got his arms around Broja. What else are you expected to be given? Like, it's stupid. And I obviously said the other night as well, I said to you that we had a defender called Martin Skrtel. He had a very good goal-scoring record for Liverpool. I think he scored 18 goals as a centre-back, which is amazing anyway. But there were times where he had his arms around people, and I'm saying this now. I'm saying this again. Martin Skrtel would not have survived VAR.
No,
because he'd be getting penalties after penalties after penalties away.
Well, I think I said in the same conversation, Doug, that when we won the Premier League, Huth and Morgan, it was like watching Strictly Come Dancing every time we played, because they were just holding on to defenders left, right, and centre. Got away with it until the West Ham game, and then it bit us on the bottom a little bit. But, yeah, that was 1-1. Man City beat Brighton, which was probably expected. James, 3-0. Where did that come from? And in fairness, it is at Goodison, and as you do play better at Goodison.
Historically, we do, yeah. We do a lot better at home. I didn't expect 3-0. I thought if we were going to win, it'd be just by the old goal. Because I've got a season ticket there. We dominated the game from, I won't say start to finish, but we had control of it for most of the match. And then I was so surprised how poor Palace were there. I was expecting a bit more, but we just didn't allow them to play. We were aggressive, we were positive, and we could have actually had a few goals. The two standout players for me, apart from, I got forward actually, the two centre-backs, Tarkowski and Cody, were outstanding. Seamus Coleman kept Wilfred Zaha quiet throughout the game. And the one man, for me, he's been our player of the year so far, Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi's just been an absolute revelation for us this season. And the two assists, including the third, his second assist for Dwight McNeil's goal was out. Just take some class. Now, but overall, we deserved it. But my main moan on that game was the officials. The referee and the linesman were an absolute joke. The second goal, I don't know if you've seen it on Match of the Day, but Anthony Gordon's goal right, was ruled out for offside. And if you look at the replay, as soon as
He's 2
Mikel
yards on site.
yeah, there's a couple of defend. I can see it in front. I sit in the top balcony, and I can literally see it right in front of me. Gordon was well behind play, and the linesman decided to put his flag up after it's in the net. What is going on?
Surely that's what bloody VAR is for.
It's
ridiculous. I mean, VAR would check it, obviously, but the fact he's put his flag up, why?
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't even well offside, I would have understood it if it paused for a bit. VAR looked and the ref's like, all right, nothing wrong with it, carry on. But the linesman put his flag up. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Wellesby, obviously a huge Evertonian, always says the atmosphere at Goodison Park is almost literally a bit like with Newcastle. It is the 12th man for you.
Oh, look, especially towards the end of last season, because the fans had to stick together and guide the team to safety, which we did.
Yeah.
This season, obviously, this season's just a bit of a trying to finish as high as we possibly can this season, because we're not going to get anywhere higher. That's the realistic game for us. But so, I mean, I can't moan obviously on the performance. We just need to get the consistency right. And defensively, we've been solid, but we're just not scoring enough goals. But thankfully, Calvert-Lewin's back and he got a goal. Gordon got on the score sheet. Now we just need not only Calvert-Lewin firing together, but we need players shipping in, and we've got to be taking our chances. But overall, I can't complain.
Should Zaha been sent off?
For me, Palace should have been down to 8 or 9 men. Zaha clattered into Gordon. No attempt to go for the ball.
He's not even looking at the ball. He's like literally basically looking eyes on the man, and he's basically come in elbow. Yeah. Now, for me, if you're basically going in with your elbow like that, it's a straight red. He got a yellow, and I'm surprised he did.
Well, I'll tell you what would have happened. If that was Coleman or anyone else did that to him, he would have been sent off. But the fact is, Zaha did it. He didn't get a bloody red. And the refs never got his cards out all game until that incident happened. Joke.
Talking about that, I mean, the next game, and I'm sure True Red doesn't want us to talk about it, so we'll jump on to Tottenham versus Newcastle United. So, no, I'm sorry, Doug, we have got to talk about it. Do you remember, I don't know if either of you are a James Bond fan, but there used to be a villain. It was the man with the golden gun, and the villain was a little guy called Oddjob. Well, of course, Doug, like I said earlier, is our new one job, because they had one job. And they could still be playing now, Doug, and you added that you'd have scored.
We were fucking shite. Let me just say that now. The one thing that's really annoyed me this season, we go with a mentality of just thinking that we can just turn up and win. It's happened against Fulham. It's happened against Palace. It's happened against Everton. It's happened against Brighton. And now it's happened against Forest. I am sick to death of having that mentality of going into a game where you just think you can just turn up and win. Full credit to Nottingham Forest. Full credit to Nottingham Forest. I thought Cooper set up his team as very, very well as he could. And I will say this as well. I think that they were a little bit fortunate to have 11 men.
Very, very fortunate.
I have to say that Kouyaté was very lucky to stay on the pitch. I think he was, but when I saw the team lineup, I was worried. No Thiago, no Nunes. Curtis Jones hadn't played, I think, in eight or 9 months. He's had a horrendous amount of injuries recently, Curtis Jones. So it was always going to take time. And, with the injuries that we have had, the team, the bench, and you obviously saw the bench, Chris. Yeah. That bench, there was nothing to come on and change the whole game. Like Henderson, you could argue is, he is our captain, but his legs are going. We had Tsimikas, who was an unused substitute. We had Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, I'm not giving any excuses or anything like that, but
they very much. Well, they did. They had a game plan, and that was to put 10 players behind the ball.
How many players did you see that ahead of, like, for Salah? Like how many people did you see for Firmino? Like, it was
I saw one point where there was somebody was trying to cross the ball, and I can't remember who it was for Salah, who was the only Liverpool player in the Forest box, and there was like 5 or 6 Forest defenders plus the goalkeeper.
Yeah, just keep crossing into the box, let Cook or McKenna head it away. Like, we just played into their hands yesterday, and I don't really want to be too critical of Joe Gomez, but I really hope that's his last game as a centre back, because he showed his inner Degsy Lovren, dilly-dallying on the ball, allowed Awoniyi to get past him, and he brought him down. If we did not have Alisson Becker in our goal, who I still think is the best keeper in the Premier League, we might be like bottom 3 right now, because we have been absolutely shocking all season. And this is the thing as well, that we deserve to be where we are. We deserve to be where we are. And I don't want to go into the Leeds game thinking we could just go up, turn up and win. Yes, I know we won 6-0 last season, but that was when we were playing really, really well. It's just really frustrating me that this result, after a fantastic game against Manchester City, we absolutely deserved to win that game. West Ham, we had a very good first half, very lucky to win in the second half. And then those 2 halves against Nottingham Forest was absolutely poor. But full credit to Forest. It is a big, big boost for them. And, it might, turn around their season. But I think you need to get Arsenal out of the way first before I think you're at home the next game. So, but big performance from Steve Cooper, and well deserved.
James, Villa, we talked about them earlier. Played with the so-called freedom, 4-0 to Brentford. Did anybody see that coming?
Not 4-0, but not surprised that they won. It's obviously manager goes and they've got something to prove, haven't they? Especially in front of their own fans.
Was it 3 goals in 14 minutes at the start or something like that?
It was, yeah. It was just a crazy start to the game. And obviously, Villa, fair play, they won the match, but you do question, why didn't they play that for the Gerrard? You do question
that. Doug, Leeds 2, Fulham 3. It literally is countdown for him, isn't it? Jesse Marsh.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I suppose if you want to, I think I might play the final countdown by Europe on Saturday, because honestly, I do not know where Leeds are going, and I questioned the appointment when they appointed Jesse Marsh, and. Obviously, I know Brad doesn't like Jesse Marsh. I know he doesn't. I don't think he kind of likes like Americans managing in the Premier League. And
I think the problem for him was right from the word go. He had that Ted Lasso tag, didn't he? Because it had just been on telly. I just watched it, and I'm thinking that's Jesse Marsh.
Yeah, and I think it's a sackable offence to let Williams score past you as well.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it says it all. James, Southampton, what did we say before? For God's sake, sort yourselves out, Southampton. Win, lose, go down, or at least if we're going to stay up, challenge for Europe occasionally. But they did it. They made Arsenal, work for it and got a point.
No, they did. I mean, I was watching the game while you were doing the live stream. Also, I controlled that first half, but Southampton grew into the game a bit more second half, and in the end, the draw's a fair result. But the same as Palace, same team to like Palace, Southampton. You don't know what Southampton's going to turn up. No. They're just so unpredictable, and you think Hasenhüttl was down and out, and he always comes back. You expect Southampton to lose 1 week, they turn up, and then you expect Southampton to turn up the other week, and they'll probably get beat. It's just not enough consistency in them. But no, they were well worthy of a point on Sunday.
It's just been confirmed. Aston Villa is delighted to announce the appointment of Unai Emery as the club's new head coach.
Wow, it's gone ahead. Wow. Well, fair play to them. They're not hung about, have they?
No, they have not.
You know, and that's. But you see that, in fairness to Villa, you know, they're fighting. I mean, they're not out of the relegation party at all yet, but what they're doing is completely opposite to what Wolves are doing. And that's appoint a decent manager that knows what he's doing, knows football, where Wolves are still, and we'll come on to Wolves in a minute, but still fighting about, well, I think we'll stick with this guy for the time being, see where we're going in the new year. But no, I mean, good luck, Villa. Doug, we're coming on to Wolves Leicester at the end. Tottenham, what a shame. They lost to Newcastle United and they lost at home. I absolutely, as you know, I have got so much time for Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
I live down here in just outside Bournemouth, and I've seen what he did for that club from the minus 17 points in the fourth tier, taking them to the Premier League, keeping them in the Premier League, apart from mostly the one season. He's a future England manager, isn't he?
Newcastle United deserved every credit yesterday. Yes, they had to defend a lot of times yesterday, but oh my God, like Hugo Lloris. When are we going to say that he is one of the most overrated goalkeepers I think I've ever seen in grace the Premier League? Honestly, he has 1, 2, 3 good games, and then yesterday collides into Callum Wilson like he's no there. Callum Wilson deserved that goal, and then the Almiron goal, he literally lets it slip through his body. Honestly, like Tottenham looked ordinary yesterday. Like really, really poor. Very lucky to get their goal as well. Could have easily been, chalked off or offside as well. But I think you're kind of seeing now that Conte, he's a kind of manager that if it doesn't go right for him, he's likely to walk away. And I think we're getting towards that stage where I think Conte will probably walk away from Spurs very soon.
Wow. I mean, James just talking about Lloris there. I mean, I've noticed over the last few weeks, especially the Liverpool game, referees are letting more go now, which I'm pleased about because I'm old enough to remember the mud wrestling in the 70s and kicking 7 bells out of each other. But that was a valid goal, wasn't it?
100%. I mean, that goal, rightfully so, stood. I mean, I agree with Doug. I mean, I'm not fan. Lloris is all right, but he's not a world-class goalkeeper. I'm sorry. He just isn't. He's all right at a certain level, like Tottenham's or whatever, but for clubs like Liverpool, Man City, he ain't going to make it. But that goal, though, there's nothing wrong with it for me. He was entitled to go, completely entitled to get the ball, and it's in the back of the net. So,
yeah. Well, we've got one game left, and I must admit, as silly as it sounds, it was only, you could argue, Wolves, it was only Leeds, but it was only Brentford, we couldn't beat them. It was only Southampton, we couldn't beat them. But let's just put this full screen, and I might not be able to do this again this season. I definitely won't be able to do it again this week, although it might be the other way around. But 4-0 to Leicester City. Tielemans, what a goal. Barnes, Maddison deserved it. I mean, even Vardy, Vardy was on the score sheet. I mean, without the bottom 3, Doug, I know, right? It's by 2 points. Let's be honest, we're not actually sort of safe, but just not being in that bottom 3 puts a smile on our face.
100%. You've got to beat what's in front of you, and you beat a very, very poor Wolves side. Like defensively, absolutely shocking from all aspects of the pitch, but nothing away from how well Leicester set up against Wolves. Like I don't know what's happened. Like Tielemans, like we sort of criticised him against Leeds. He didn't really have his best game, but I think Brendan let him off the shackles. Against Wolves, because that goal was absolutely stunning. It's just when the ball comes to you like that, you've just got one thing in your mind. You're gonna hit it, and it's just as perfect as you can, basically, to hit it right off the post and then off the into the back of the net. Harvey Barnes is a different player recently. You've been one of the ones calling for him to be dropped, and
yes,
obviously,
I was moaning about, and I've got to be very, very careful because he's actually apparently friends with my nephew, and what I say about him on the channel. But yeah, I did. But then, when you put a performance in, credit where credit's due. 2 goals in 2 games.
Absolutely, and Maddison's goal was just brilliant. The way he just took Collins away from him and got the space to fire in a very good shot that Josie Sa had absolutely no chance with. And it's so good to see Jamie Vardy back on the score sheet. I think there's been a lot of people this season that have said, yeah, it's probably maybe Jamie Vardy's sort of swan song.
Me,
possibly.
I've been one of them. But
it is good to see him on the score sheet, and I have to say as well, if you can play like that against Manchester City on Saturday, who knows what that result can be? But you have beaten them before. We've beaten Manchester City. They're there to be beat at the weekend.
A weird season, definitely. But I mean, James, I've got to be honest with you. I was calling for Vardy. I think what we saw yesterday was where Jamie Vardy comes on for the last 10, 15 minutes as a super sub, if you like, is probably his role moving forward. But he needed that goal because, it was 11 games, whatever, into the season, and he hadn't scored. Now, I know Harry Kane, doesn't like scoring in September and what have you, but it was beginning to get a bit worried. He was just off. That will do his like a clean sheet for Ward. That will do Jamie Vardy's confidence no harm whatsoever.
100%. I mean, he's a goal scorer. That's what Vardy is, and that's what he's been lacking. And you need goals, especially if you need something to change the game. So, and as you said, Vardy hasn't got 90 minutes ahead of him every week now. So, now they definitely do his confidence the world of good, and definitely does your team the world of confidence for that. Not just the result, but the manner that you won.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit of there's a confidence brewing now, and what you just hope you can kick on.
The Leicester of this season, though, Doug, we could have, you'd have not been that well. Let me say, when we did the score predictions with the ex-Foxes, ex-players. I mean, I went for a 2-1 win. Brad went for a 2-1. Craig, Jerry Taggart, Ian Marshall, Ian Wilson, Steve Lynott, Steve Walsh all went for a draw. So that's how confident the ex-players were. Not one of them went for the win. And at least I get a point and move up the table there. But we did what we had to do. I think Tielemans was more his old self because he's been allowed to play more as an attacking role. When he's defensive, he's not as good. But what a goal. That's going to be up there for goal of the season, isn't it? Or am I being blue-tinted spectacles here?
No, I think it definitely is up there for goal of the season. I want to actually give a wee shout out to Soumare. The last couple of games, Soumare has been absolutely outstanding. And, I think Wilfred and Ndidi will be watching from the sidelines thinking, how the hell am I going to get back into this Leicester side? Because
he shouldn't just do it back in.
Absolutely. You shouldn't be able to, walk straight back in because Soumare has been outstanding.
Yeah. I mean, James, if I looked at these stats and we hadn't won this game, and if anybody wants to read it tomorrow on the BBC website, BBC Sport, the Leicester City page, I do my Tuesday talking point, and I say if I was looking at those stats, not knowing the result, I would have steam coming out my ear. We had 5 shots all game. They had 21. But of our 5 shots, 4 of them were on target, and all those were goals.
I know it stats are just crazy, aren't they? I mean, you just don't. I mean, as I say, with Brighton, especially with someone like Brighton, they have like 25 shots and they can't put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
So it's just, as I say, it's a funny old game, and you took the chances where it mattered. That's it. At the end of the day, it's just about putting the ball in the net.
Oh, that is what it's all about. I mean,
Yeah.
all the stats. That is the stat that the result is the stat that
You can have all the possession you want, but it's just about putting the ball in the net at the end of the day.
I do like Op because obviously I do like my stats, so it's not surprising that I do like Op to Joe. Anyway, Leicester. Leicester are the first team to win a Premier League game by 4+ goals, despite starting the day bottom of the table. The last team to do it was Leicester City 20 days ago when we beat Nottingham Forest. So we've broken our own record there. So well done. I'm not saying that Brendan's suddenly going to be manager of the season or anything like that. But with what's gone on at Leicester this season, if he was to go to get us mid-table, because I don't think we'll be going and buying a lot of players in January. I think if we get mid-table, I think he gets another season, Doug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do as well. I think you've got to sort of have sort of realistic sort of expectations now. I mean, if it was me, and if you can get results here and there, I'd be looking to maybe towards a top 10 finish. Why not? Everyone's beating everybody. Why not?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and James, I've got to say, give a shout out to one person who's probably been forgotten in the Leicester City setup, and that is our new set piece coach. I don't know what he has been doing, but we conceded 9 corners in that game. Now, Leicester of last season and early this, we'd have probably conceded 7 goals from that, but 9 corners, not 1 goal conceded. That set piece coach, and I've got to be honest with you, I find myself conflicted here because he's American, but fair play to him with what he's doing. He's sorted something out.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least that's one positive you can take. I mean, that was the problem we had last season. We couldn't stop conceding from set pieces either. And we've stopped doing that now. So, it's having an effect. That's a good starting point.
Yeah. I mean, we were awful at set pieces, certainly, last season. So, thank you. I don't even know his name, but thank you very much. 9 conceded, 9 corners conceded, not 1 goal. I think that's a record. But hey, look, this is where we sit with the table. And I've got to say, because of course Liverpool are 8th, so we can include them in the top 10. We don't have to make the top 10 or top 11. Sorry, Doug. Arsenal are still there at the top. Man City, second. Tottenham, then Newcastle moved into 4th. Man United hanging on at 6th there. I'm surprised at Man United because they're in this period of transition, Doug, but they are having some good results.
They are having some good results, yeah, especially against sort of the top 6. I mean, they've beaten Arsenal, they've beaten us, they've beaten Tottenham, drew with Chelsea, got smashed by City, but everyone seemed to get smashed by City. Sorry, United. But what I can say is, just obviously as sort of a silver lining for us, we're only 5 points off the top 4. After the bad season that we are having, to be only 5 points off top 4 right now is honestly a miracle.
I mean, is that Liverpool's goal this season, just the top 4 position? I think possibly the title is too far away for you.
Yeah, 12 points is a massive gap. But I wouldn't say it's sort of, virtually impossible. But the thing is as well, we're a kind of team that could actually go on a really, really big run of victories. We've done it before, but it's going to be very, very tricky. I think we're just waiting for January to come because I've got a real feeling that something is happening in the background and that we obviously don't know about, but I think we might be making a couple of signings.
And congratulations to Fulham, sat there in 7th. Well done to them. James, the part half of the table that's more important to us. We're both in this one. You're there, 11th. I mean, 13 points. You're only 1 point off the top half. Palace, I'm surprised Palace is still up there in 12th. That surprises me. Bournemouth there. Villa, it's one win, like the Villa win, can just take you up the table 4 or 5 places.
I mean, this is where what most of the mid-table sides are, including obviously Villa. We were close. We were like 15th at one point. Now we've gone up to 11th. It's just a couple of good results would put you up there, and a couple of bad results would just put you down there. There's not enough consistency in the half of these teams, and there's not awful lot in it at the minute.
No. That said, Leicester are currently down to 17th because West Ham are drawing 0-0 with Bournemouth. Come on, Bournemouth. we need you to beat West Ham for us. But yeah, we're like I said, for me, just looking at that table and not seeing us either bottom or one off bottom, just makes all the difference. Guys, look, thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure.
Louise unfortunately just could not get her internet working. James, I know you haven't got a channel to promote, but I always thank you for everything that you do, modding in this in the chat for me. Doug, you have got a channel, onejobliverpool.com, but do this is going to last. Do tell people where they can find you.
You can find me at the Dugout Football channel on YouTube. I've also got Instagram at Douglas.Horn and Twitter handles Aaron_992.
Brilliant. I'm going to be back at 9 o'clock. We're going to be talking women's football. And it doesn't get any better for Leicester because we're bottom of that league as well. But James and Doug, thank you so much for coming on. Really do appreciate that. World Cup is only like 4 games away.
Oh, mental. Absolutely mental.
Yeah, and Doug, I have got all the shirts ready. I did all the shirts earlier for the show. I've actually changed my mind on a few of them, so now I've had time to look at them. I have demoted some.
Hopefully, though, that makes a cool weight cut.
Yeah, no, that's I couldn't get any lower than 0, could I? Says the fan of the team that's got that away kit they wore at the weekend.
Oh Christ! I don't want to see that away kit anymore. Just give me the green one that I wore for the watch along the other day.
It's awful. But guys, thank you so much for coming on, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care, both of you. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Doug.
Take care. Cheers. See you later.
Thanks to James. Thanks to Doug there coming on and digging me out of it, as they say. I'm going to be back 9 o'clock with Maisie. Half an hour less, and we will be talking WSL. If you haven't yet, please, Bottle Job Liverpool is the new name, I think. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you have subscribed, please press the like button. It was Halloween. It's coming up this weekend, but it was certainly no horror performance from Leicester City. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Leicester City 4, 5 shots, 4 on target, 4 goals. Doesn't get much better than that. Good night. See you in half an hour.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over,